Hello everyone, Santa here with Let's Make a Game Astral Collision. And, let me try to think through things. So, the big thing that I've been working on this past week has been redoing a lot of the introduction area. So, I think the easiest way to kind of explain things is as I go. So, let's just go ahead and show you a new game. Let's move this over to here. So this is, because I'm not doing playtest right now, it's a little bit overlappy. But I've added an introductory scroll. Title crawl? I basically try to make scroll and crawl into one word, and it didn't work too well. Anyway, it's just establishing some of the initial lore for things. The initial setting to give you kind of a sense of what's going on, a sense of what your purpose is going to be, and all this sort of stuff. If you want to read this, you're welcome to like pause and read it or whatever. But this will play through, and then once this is done, we pan down here and welcome Angel of Selection. I'm your cosmic guide, Sir Quaxalot. Around you are the 14 prophets. So if you can't take this seriously, maybe. I don't know. This game's going to need a little bit of a side of humor. Around you are the 14 prophets from whom you must select 4 to heal the world. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Just know there's no wrong team. So you can go ask him and be like, what do I do? What are skill sets? What is even happening? What are you? I'm good, thanks. So I added a bunch of like text here to kind of explain what's going on, to allow you to be able to interact with things as you should. On these red carpets around the room, but I'm not going to read all of this. You're welcome to pause and read as I go. No, I repeated myself. This is what happens when I don't read things. This automatically loops. What are skill sets? So here, this will explain what skill sets are. Skill sets are collections of skills that are equipped like an equipment. You only get one of each. They come in 8 varieties. Here's what each of the varieties are. These are a variety of physical techniques. These skill sets provide a variety of ways of supporting allies, tools, destruction magic, healing magic, enchanter, spell sword, and that covers skill sets, but note that other pieces of equipment can also have skills. What is even happening? This will give you a little bit more information, but it's basically like a restatement of the title crawl with a little bit more, a few more details. Talking about the world being split, and then the fragments being named after things. Kendra, the master hunter. Sacritan, who feared the impurity that came to grow in people's hearts. So again, each of these is kind of like establishing what these places are about. And hopefully I have not had any typos. Vivina, who coveted the power of the Creator. Galdan, who prized purity mercilessly. I love that description. And Ron Piety, who alone remained loyal to the Creator. And then the 14 astral fragments have once again come together in an event, now being called the Astral Collision. All is not well in this newly combined world, and conflict has erupted in many places. As decreed by the Creator at the moment of the old world's sundering, it is up to the resurrected prophets to make things right. Which prophets was not written, for it is up to you to choose which 4 of these 14 will be the ones to venture forth. What are you? I'm your cosmic guide, Sir Quaxalot. You wanted a less personal answer than that, though, didn't you? Well, I meant what I said. I don't have any specific form, so I've chosen to manifest in this adorable, huggable form. For reference. Adorable, huggable form. Yeah. I'm leaning into this. Was it placeholder originally? Maybe a little bit, but I'm leaning into it. Yeah, so like that establishes who this guy is, and then you can go and you can talk to these guys. Now, I've updated the text with these guys as well. Originally, it was just like, hi, I'm so-and-so, my class, and like whatever that means. I do these things, and this is trying to give a little bit of a mechanical definition. This now gives you an idea of where like the lore connection that these have. So like, I'm Sir Lionel, a knight of the people of Kendra called a hero. I can make use of these skill sets. And this is true for all of them. So I'll just talk to each one of them. a Whammo and first Queen of Sacriton, I can make use of the healing, magic, guardian skills, etc. Again, if you want to read these, you are welcome to pause and do so. Yeah, it just gives, again, it gives you a little bit of backstory on who they are and their connection with the world and what stuff they can use. I still have not finished figuring out what the heck I'm doing with Sophia. Bonpoint, which anybody who's French will think is a probably hilariously terrible attempt at pronouncing that word. For naming things, I will often go to Google Translate and like, here is concept, give me word. And it'll be like, here's word in other language. I'm like, great, I will grab that. That is a way that I typically will try to name things. Whether or not that's the best way or not, that's just how I tend to go about it. Berserker Entertainer from Divertier. Hi Mishizo. A ninja and poet from Kushigai. Francis, a ranger and one of the few of Tulador not drawn to the sea. Asgard Duel. Instead, you're of the creator from Kaldisha. Yeah, so I spent a lot of time writing some dialogues. Kalissa, a war mage in general. You know what? I'm going to add Kalissa to my party. Hannah, druid and daughter of Ron Piety. Yeah, this is actually a really significant line of dialogue. And then Devin McElroy of the Falsauce Special Forces. Make use of the weapon arts, martial arts, and tools skill sets. Let's add you. Mishizo is still a little bit on the overpowered side. So, like, right now, what would be useful? Somebody who can use healing. You know what? I think you can use destruction healing. Yeah, let's use you. You're interesting. Let's see. She can use healing. You know, I haven't used Francis in a little bit. Let's just grab Francis. Okay. Looks like you filled up your party. Come speak with me and ready to start your adventure. And now, this has changed so much. Now that you have your team, you're ready to start your adventure. Just head down the stairs here. But first, these are for you. I do need to make sure that this doesn't break if you save and reload, but I'll look into that. This is not a playtest. This is just showing you what I've done in a way that I feel is like the best way of kind of doing it, because it'll like show it to you. So now there's a cutscene here where Sir Quaxalot walks around, tells you what things are. So it's like, because I needed to make sure I could establish like what you could expect and what things you need to interact with, and the monuments here are really important. This connection serves as a tether. Again, if you actually want to read what this says, you are welcome to pause the video. I'll go over it more in a playtest in the future when I finally get enough stuff up and running in Kendra to want to do another one of those. Interact with a lot of objects, such as these memorials. Be sure to try stuff out. Got some preparations to make. Excuse me. And then it tells you, like, don't forget to pick up your equipment. It's probably kind of crap, but, you know, better than nothing. And don't forget to visit. Yes. Okay. And now we're left right in front of this. We can grab our things. These are currently unfinished, but I'll show you what's kind of going on with them. There's supposed to be, like, information about the different 4 races of beings. So there's humans, and you'll get an essence fragment for interacting with these. The fellow core, which, let's see. Yeah, the fellow core are that you can get in your party are Jennifer and Asgard Duel. Of the 4 races of beings creator formed as a mirror of the divine, the Rifa best understood morality. Yes, so Kalissa here is actually a Rifa and the only one. Again, there's more about them later. The Yadar best understood worship. The Bonpoing and Hannah are Yadar. So if we come back up here, this is now the Divine Forge. This guy doesn't do a whole lot yet. I can ask him questions. How do I get out of here? He'll tell me basically You need to defeat all 8 guardians, which can be found in a maze-like area. We'll see what's going on here in a moment. And then, again, you can read this if you want to. How do I use the Divine Forge? I've added this information. How do I get more essence? Primary quests marked with a golden star in your quest log will reward you with essence. Otherwise, you'll just have to find it out in the world. One tip, though, is that older things can sometimes have essence if you investigate them. Also, more spirit-like enemies can on rare occasions drop essence. Don't forget, you can check what enemies can drop in your bestiary as long as you have info on them, either from defeating one or getting info from someone else. Goodbye. So, I've also added descriptions to all of the items that all of the crafting materials that didn't previously have one. But yeah, primarily using the Divine Forge and by craftsmen of Kaldisha. So, I put the carpets over here to be like, oh yeah, the carpets that were here, they're all just stacked over to the side. I guess technically I had a carpet here that covered this area. I should make sure to add that back, but... and so I can buy things to increase affinity to elements. These are all the elemental affinities over here. And then over here I can get something to increase my strength, dexterity, or HP. I don't know how balanced these are. I'll find out later. The primary thing to do with them is you can use it here, at least in the Divine Forge. It's to upgrade these things that we will get later. So these are the skill sets that you get. These are, not all of them are like in position yet. I've gotten 2 up to this state, so Divine Wrath and Divine Mercy have all 3 of their skills. The Glorious versions are not set up yet at all. And then I added these weapons here. So there's the Axe of Vengeance that can become the Holy Axe of Vengeance and the Divine Axe of Vengeance. You'll notice it says largely unremarkable. That's because I've not added stuff to them. Again, where these come from, I'll explain in a moment. The Guardian Shield. The Focus of Mercy does upgrade. So by itself, the Focus of Mercy is just a focus. It has no special properties. But you can upgrade it to the Holy Focus of Mercy to get the Resurrect spell. And then, again, if you get a Pure Essence, you can upgrade it to the Divine Focus of Mercy, which grants Resurrect and Mass Resurrection to the bearer. And then these also don't have anything yet. But that's what's been added up here, the Divine Forge thing. And this is, again, you interact with this and it recharges it. Okay, over here, this area is completely different. I've completely reworked this part. This used to be a big, like, wandering maze, and I didn't like it very much. And so I'm like, this isn't fun. I'm going to tear it out. So I tore it out. This now has a quest marker on it. These are relevant. I need to update that text. These don't do anything just yet, which some of the dialogue explained. Here, this will talk about the healing waters. These sacred waters heal the body and restore the soul of all those who touch them, yet that power is lost if they're removed from their spring. How curious. You can get 6 healing potions here, and that, of course, will heal you, as it always did. This dialogue is wrong. And if I interact with this, I'll get a quest. Throughout this space are 8 guardians who each protect a divine skill set. Defeat these guardians to light the sacred flames around this circle. Once all the flames are lit, the fires barring the exit shall go out. Obtain primary quest, defeat the 8 guardians. I do want to add a sound effect to obtaining and completing quests. It just feels like there needs to be a little bit more sound design there. And this is the time to figure out what I'm going to do with it. But I've decided on that conclusion recently enough that I haven't had time to begin adding that in. So, and now it activates the warp panels. This, for what it's worth, is like a magical fire bars your way. You can't go there. These will illuminate as we defeat guardians. You may or may not see that. That's the teleport. So there's now a central maze area. If I go over to here, and while I'm thinking about it, let's just yoink this and go to Sir Quackslot's room. Plop. There we go. That's now matching the introduction better. Wait. Yeah, okay. It's now matching it better. But if we go to the ancient catacombs here and we zoom out, you'll see that there's now this maze here. There are 11 chests. 10 of these ones that all have, here it's easier to see, that all have essence, an essence fragment in them, and then this one in the middle that has ye old 100 gold approximately. And then there are 8 guardians spread throughout the map. Your goal is to defeat these 8 guardians, and that will illuminate these 8 torches and make these fires go out. And that's how you leave. Again, this is the main thing that I've been working on. But the idea is you want to collect all of these to be able to upgrade the equipment that you get from here. I'm front-loading it. You're not usually going to get this much. Oh, I also adjusted spiders, so spiders no longer have evasion. Because that was really annoying. Target hands. Yeah, this is probably a fine skill to use on this bat. So spiders are a little bit less annoying now. Oh, you know what? I totally forgot to equip everybody's equipment. So that's going to make this awkward. Yeah. Thankfully, I have somebody with a spell. Okay, let's fix this oversight. You're probably the plate mail. Yeah. I need to remove... I'm planning on removing this optimize button and add a, used equipment button. So that way you can, activate it to get a display of, here are the types of equipment this character can use. Because I feel that it is a bit lacking at the moment. Oh, here we are. Okay, so there's going to be, like I said, 8 of these. You need to defeat them. They all just use the skill that their skill set gives. So, and I've tried to calibrate them to be interesting, but not. I mean, a bit more durable than regular enemies. Not especially threatening. They're just to give you a taste of the systems. And I don't know what's ideal here. Well, that does a little bit more damage. Yep. Do some healing. That's what happens. Woo! That was a good critical hit there. Good job, my friend. Yeah. I don't know if it's better to do that or just attack with Francis right now. Daggers hit twice, so... Okay, now I have Fated Divine Mercy. So there's a couple of things that happen there. I'll let it play properly, sort of, with the next one. This is just to show you what's going on. I can put a Focus of Mercy on somebody. All it does will give me more MP, and actually I'm going to put it on her to improve her magical accuracy, because that's useful. And then Esgar Duel will get the Fated Divine Mercy set. Again, you typically want to collect these. And you're just kind of wandering around this area fighting these guys. I figure it doesn't hurt to just show you all of them. Again, there's nothing particularly notable about them. They all just use whatever the assigned skill is. They have some elemental weaknesses. Different parties are going to find different ones challenging, most likely. Being able to lower stuff like that is really useful. I also tweaked a bunch of stats on various characters in the form of additional effects. Well, I hope you weren't planning on doing anything with that, because it just got smacked out of your hands. No. Just an attack. Experience has shown this, if done sort of optimally or whatever, can take around 20-25 minutes to collect all of the loot. Yeah, so one of the 8 Divine Guardians has been defeated. A flame has been lit. So I'll show that flame off in a moment. Actually, do I want her to have that scythe? Actually, no, I think I want to keep her on this, because I think... Yeah, Francis can use the scythe. I'd rather you use the scythe on Francis. Yeah, and I got this skill set. Yeah, okay. He's useful to equip things. I'm just going to kind of wander around the southern edge of the map. Yeah, now I have this. This is probably better a lot of the time, but... Again, I want the focus on Kalissa because it improves her magical accuracy. So if we went over to her status, you'd see she now has 79% spell accuracy. That's because the focus of Mercy is giving her plus a little bit. So it's helping with that. I'm just going to kind of loop around. That guy over there is good to take down. Oh, they surprised our party. We have some good evasion going on, apparently. Let's have you go after the Forgotten Spirit. Forgotten Spirit. Well, I'm glad on that evasion. Man, target hands is really good. Very high accuracy indeed. Okay, this is just going to finish things off. I want to make sure I'm healing up after this. You usually get around level 2 or 3 in this process, from my experience. Okay, guy. I'm going to fight you. It's probably better just attacking there. And Hunter Strike. I'm not sure how bulky this guy's going to be for this team. This guy does have reduced damage from physical sources and can crit you pretty dead. This guy is one of the more like raw dangerous ones. I'm okay with that. I need some of them to be kind of dangerous, so... I know this is a weird, like, episode that's just basically like, hey, let me just play the game for you. But, like, I think this is the best way of showing the things that I've done and giving kind of a sense for it, so. Ooh, poison is useful there. Another good critical hit. The poison on that's also going to make the other skill do more damage that Francis has. Not relevant. I don't know if any of these guys can wield the flail that this guy drops. Let's see. Yeah, Kalissa can. Excellent. What's that do for her? Oh yeah, physical accuracy is now actually reasonable territory. Asgard Duels is absolutely wretched. Yeah, Dev Milkower is not going to crit without the thing to enable it. This guy's destruction magic. This guy you actually just want to use attack skills on. It's a thing I baked in. This guy's weak to like all of the attacks, but resistant to all of the magical types for the most part. Again, I don't want to actually use that because I don't want fire damage here. You can guard and get healed. I did change guarding to improve the amount you get healed, so it boosts how much you're healed by a little bit. Oh. You missed with your smite there. Okay, let's just mash attack on this thing and it'll go down. I feel like it feels pretty good to take these guys out. Wrath Manifested is terrible early game. It's... yeah. Okay, let's loop back around to here. I want to go recharge my Resurrection Signet and kind of show some stuff off. I might as well stop by the healing here. So you can see I have defeated half of the Guardians. 4 of the flames are lit. Technically, the purple flames, like there is some significance to the color difference. I don't expect players to really pick up on this or for it to really matter. But the purple flames belong to the magical classification of enemies, I think. Or is it the physical? One of them is basically the physical ones, and the other is the magical ones. I think the purple ones are the physical ones, and the blue ones are the magical ones. No, it must be the other way around. Yeah, it's the other way around, because I have... I have Divine Wrath, Divine Champion, and then I have the... let's see. Let's give you this one. The Rebuker is the physical one. Yeah, that makes sense. And the other one's Spell Sword, which is magical. Okay, let's go, like I said, restore my Signet. So actually, at this point, if I wanted to, I can go over to this guy, because I have 11 Essence. I can go over to Esgardul and be like, hey, I'm going to pull this off. Go over here to the Forge and be like, hey, I can upgrade my Divine Mercy to give me more skills. So I might as well do that. Now, you're going to start off getting 20 very early, which is going to allow you to upgrade 2 items here, or to pump one of your stats on your character, or to pump stats on your characters by like 20, which could be very powerful. I don't know yet. But after this point, the rate of getting essence is going to slow way down, so you do kind of want to make a careful decision early on. Although right now there's not a whole lot of decisions to make, because a lot of them are just not implemented in any sort of meaningful sense. I do want this. Let's see, I don't think there's... So you can't actually encounter enemies around the treasure chests. This is another random thing that I did. So now I have access to Breath of Life, which is a resurrection skill. Not a particularly strong one at the moment, but that's about a third of HP. And then this is a healing skill. It buffs maximum HP while on stage for 10 turns, gives rejuvenation and cures poison. So I now have access to a couple of additional utility skills. The Divine Mercy and like the Mercy stuff that you get from here is the only places where you get equipment that gives you resurrection skills, by the way. It's not something you're going to find outside in the world. So you can only encounter enemies in the like thin 1 width areas. Here, let me show you. Region map. Yeah. So the red areas are areas where you can fight enemies. So you're not gonna like have random encounters in any of the other parts. I don't know if there's... I don't know. I've tried to make sure there's not too many random encounters. I don't know how well I've done in kind of balancing some of that. I'm going to actually go ahead and just use Enduring Spirit here. So it buffs everyone's maximum HP and then gives them some rejuvenation. Getting your maximum HP buff does not give you HP. But it does mean that you'll regenerate more when you do regen. The important thing about that is it gets rid of poison on all of your characters, which is actually something that can be very useful, particularly in Kendra. Maybe I'll have it get rid of Curse too. I don't know. That might be reasonable. Yep. Then I got this stuff. The Axe of Vengeance is all well and good. Yeah. Let's see. You're using the Scythe of Rebuke. Would the Axe of Vengeance be better? I think so. I'm gonna go with that. Devin McElroy is still fine just using that pipe. I could use Wrath Manifested, but you'll notice that it does very little damage because this damage is partially scales off of like maximum HP, I think. So it's just not going to be very strong until you get up to that point. This person does like nothing. I now have access to Skillful Strike, which is not any better than what I've already got because of how things work. Yeah. Reduced. Let's just use Merciful Healing on Francis. I probably need to nerf some of the weapon arts. Yeah. That doesn't do anything right now. It could do something if I had Rejuvenation on me, but I do not. I need to nerf some of those skills a little bit that are like, this is just straight up better than this other thing that I get access to. Cool. That's taken down. I got Fated Divine Purifier, Bracelets of Purity. Yeah, I need to come over here. That one's the Guardian. This one also has healing stuff. This one can be a little annoying at times. Again, this does 22 damage. This does 22 damage. This is more efficient. I have some balancing I need to do with some of the class skills, I think. They shouldn't be like just strictly better than other skills necessarily. Merciful Healing. Reduced. 31 damage. We're gonna do target hands. Excuse me, a little bit of hiccups there. If this thing starts using healing, it can be really annoying to take down, but it didn't, thankfully. So these guys all give 15 experience and 25 money. So by the time you've taken down 8 of them, you have gotten 120 experience points and 200 gold. So you leave here with roughly a little over 300 gold. If you open the chest in the middle with the somewhere between 101 and 113 gold in it. It's just randomized between those two values. Yay, a flame has been lit. I can actually equip the Guardian Shield over here, which has some benefits. Something else I should show off, actually, before I go any further, is the quest log has defeat 8 Guardians in it. Given by tablet in the Ancient Catacombs, rewards 6 essence fragments because you get 4 from talking to the tablets in the room. You get 10 in treasure chests, and you get 6 from here for a total of 20. Defeat the 8 guardians found throughout the maze located beyond the swirling blue portals to light the braziers and extinguish the flames that block the exit from the Ancient Catacombs to Kendra. I should actually drop a save here. The other thing is that these guys do show up in the bestiary. The bestiary, I said. So you can see, like, Guardian of Vengeance has its information here. Some of the stat stuff is a little bit off for the stat multipliers because I need to update these. But you can see, like, Omni is the type of damage that all of the caster weapons deal, and then these are all the other ones. So you get more damage in if you just attack it rather than try to cast spells on it, because it basically resists the type that most spells are going to deal. One of the forgotten divine guardians that lurks within the ancient catacombs. Little is known or even knowable about these guardians. However, a discerning eye can easily tell that their power has long since faded, leaving them greatly diminished. That's just the lore that's on all of them. There's not a whole lot to read into the enemies that I chose for them. I tried to pick things that felt like they relatively fit and that I had icons for. Because if you look in this, there's like evil and monster and nature. And so what are these things do I actually have like world sprites for? There's also like the big monsters here, which will be relevant in a moment. So I just basically was trying to pick stuff. Technically, there's also these guys, but there's no reason for these guys to show up here. So there's basically like these things are like what dictated what I chose for these enemies. There's nothing like otherwise super significant about it. I try to make them feel like they were roughly appropriate, but... And then there's the Guardian of Artifice. It has emerged. This guy is... got incredible resistance to things. Piercing Gleam for 8 damage. Flame Swath for 13. 32 from that. And that did 38 and was a critical hit. The reason why is Holy Hand Grenades. That's really funny. That's really, really funny. So, that guy is specifically... now that you've vanquished all 8 guardians, the flames blocking the exit have receded. You can now head out into the land of Kendra. However, where you really need to go is around Piety, which is across the ocean to the southeast of Kendra. That means you'll need to get access to a boat of some kind, etc. You get a quest for getting a boat. Remember that while Kendra may be a dangerous place, death is not the end for you, so don't be afraid to take some risks. May the Creator be with you. I'm going to give you the Artificer's Club. So, that guy, if we go to enemies... And we go... All of these guys, I tested all of them with level 1 characters, and it's like, yeah, this is doable. The Guardian of Artifice has 100 HP and ludicrous damage reduction numbers because Holy Hand Grenades scales based on maximum HP. So if we look at skills and I do a quick search for Holy Hand Grenades, you'll see that it's somewhere between an 1/8 and a 1/5 of your maximum HP. And then it can crit for 3 times that. If I had given that enemy HP commensurate to the other enemies, like this guy has 937 HP, right? The dudes I can heal have slightly less HP. If I'd given this guy HP and those values, it, like, even at 400 HP, 400 divided by 8 is like 50 damage. So somewhere between like 50 and... Let's see, divided by 5, that's going to be 20 times 4 is 80. So that'd be somewhere between 50 and 80 damage to your entire party would be ridiculous. That would be way too powerful for this level. So, and if I gave it more than that, you can even get the idea of how strong it would be, right? So this guy just needed to be super resistant to everything, so I could give him a ton, like, very little HP and still have him, like, not instantly die. What that means, though, is because plus damage on attack skills... for example, nope, not a good example. For example, the plus 22 on here or the plus 22 on here, that plus damage actually ignores the resistance system. So if things are weak to it, it won't be increased, but if things are resistant to it, it won't be decreased. So physical attackers with these sorts of skills are actually better at taking down the Guardian of Artifice than like a lot of casters will be. So I think that's a really interesting property. I think that that's a way that you can learn about that property, potentially. But something that I certainly find very interesting. This is where we're going to see these spiders being a lot less jerks. So for reference, these are Cave Spider. I need to find previous. I adjusted these guys to be very weak to Omni damage. They didn't used to be. And I gave them -50 magical evasion. and got rid of their physical evasion. So they do have a chance to attack twice, interestingly enough. That doesn't come up very often. But I did those changes to make them a lot more manageable to deal with, because you want your spells to be able to hit, and they weren't really hitting very well at all. So this is now going to be like doing reliable damage against all of them. Things that hit all things are very powerful, which is part of why I picked Kalista for this demonstration. Smite will also do a lot of damage there. Ooh, I can target Rebuker, or Rebuke Attacker, or whatever. Yeah. Get that healing on Devon Recovery. Boom! Absolutely wrecked. That deals striking damage, which is good against them, so... Hey, look, another level. And then you hop in one of these, you pop out. All of the flames are now lit. This just tells you, like, the basic thing. Oh, I need to make sure it doesn't give you the friggin' primary quest again. Hey, look, we found a bug. Anyway, you get this quest here. Get a boat. Your power is needed in the lands of Ron Piety. It is across the seas from Kendra. Thus, you will need a boat to be able to reach those lands. It is imperative that you find one. That covers a lot of what I've done, but that's a lot of stuff. Making all of those enemies, pieces of equipment, calibrating them, and all of that sort of stuff. What else? I added... There's a little bit more to mention, not a whole lot more. I haven't really touched a lot of the other things. I started writing a poem. In the land of Kendra, where monsters roam, and heroes serve those who fear to leave home. Trying to come up with what... I think this is going to be a recurring line for the Kendran poems, and I think that's something that I'm going to kind of try to follow. So, anyway, that's kind of... That's showing the things that I did here. Oh, I got lucky on my gold. So just to talk about a few other things, like I said, I tweaked the cave spiders to be a little bit less annoying. All of these guardians here they exist. They have bestiary entries. Some of those need to be updated. Some of them deal different types of damage. Most of them just deal like a physical type. They all have a weapon, so I've made a bunch of weapons. Again, we just saw these in game, so there's not a whole lot more to say here. There's the Axe of Vengeance. Like, there's nothing special about any of these. Then the holy versions are going to have additional properties attached to them. And then I finally added all of the additional skill sets. So there's the Holy Guardian Shield. So there's the Guardian Shield, Focus of Mercy, Bracelets of Purity. Then there's the Holy and Divine versions of those. And then there's the Divine. So it's normally the Fated Divine Avenger or whatever. Like, that's the name of them. And then there's the Glorious version, which is the most powerful one. And I have not fully finished fleshing this out with skills. This did require a lot, and I mean a lot, of work over here in crafting just to add all of the freaking recipes for them, which was a pain in the rear end because there's a bunch of recipes. Something else that I added that I would be remiss to not mention is I've added some tags. So I had this idea of, I can tag maps with some properties. So there's some weather stuff. We're taking a hard pivot here. But I realized that I wanted to be able to have weather in the game somehow. So when you enter a map can be flagged with rain, storm, or snow. So just to kind of explain that. If I went to this map, the Ancient Catacombs, and I was like, yo, rain 9. This would make it rain with an intensity of 9. So that's let's just show this. Move this over a little bit. Okay, these guys that we just spent 40 minutes wandering around talking about all of the dialogue. Obviously, if you're beelining it, it'll go a lot quicker. If you're not beelining it, it'll take a lot longer. So if we go in here, it's going to start raining. That's it. That's the thing. And we leave, and it's not raining, and we come back, and it is raining. Because all of that's handled through the code over here that says, hey, if there is the rain meta tag, then set the weather to be rain and grab the strength from whatever that number is. Same for storm, same for snow. And then we just cap the strength. This right here says if the strength is less than 1, it set it to 1. And then if the strength is greater than 9, set it to 9. Otherwise, just take whatever the strength is. And then just set the weather to be that appropriate weather. There's another thing that I've added as well that's a little bit more complicated. That's specifically in engine or in editor. I've added a lightning and thunder event. So this will look for a thunder tag. If a thunder tag exists and is not set to false, then it will allow this to run. You just turn on the thunder or the lightning and thunder switch, and it will just randomly sometimes flash the screen and play a thunder sound effect. And then if a map does not have this flag or this tag, it will automatically turn this off. So you don't have to remember to like try to turn it off when you leave the map. So to kind of demonstrate that, I can go over here and I can make lightning test, auto run, control variable, control switches, lightning and thunder on, and then just an erase event. Wherever the heck they store that. No, that's the erase picture. There's erase event. And then I also need to go into the ancient catacombs and like, I can go like storm 9, thunder true, or yes, or whatever we want to put in there. Save this. Now that's saved, and leave, re-enter the map. That'll be there. Now it's the storm, and every now and then this will be a little bit of a flash, just as a warning. There. That's an example of thunder flash. It can happen at most every 75 frames, which is like a second and a quarter. And it takes a little bit of random number generator. It can kind of be weird and streaky for how often it does things. But, you know, if we go into another map, those things will be turned off, and it's not going to randomly thunder on us in here. It's just not how it's set up. So that's what's going on with that. That's some weather-related stuff that I've added. Now we come back out here, and we immediately get a peal of thunder. There's a little bit of a delay between the lightning and the thunder because that's how it often works. So yeah, I've added those weather things because I had the idea that I could do that, and was like, yes, I want. So basically, what's going to happen is there's just going to be some maps that are just going to have, they're going to have weather. I am going to use this technique right here of saying, hey, map, do you have this flag? If not, then I'm turning this thing off. For another thing that's going to use images that will be able to position stuff on screen, I might try to do fog with that, but I'm especially, yeah, I'll probably do fog with a sort of technique that way. But I'm especially also going to do it with like a ring of darkness, where it's just like you got a little bit of visibility in like the middle of the screen and everything else is like blacked out. Because that can create a really powerful like effect for areas that are supposed to be super dark. I'm going to set some of that stuff up at some point in time as well. I haven't really done anything with like the playtest notes or anything like that. So I think that mostly covers things. This super needs to have a check to make sure it doesn't do things, but I'll get to that after this recording. So I think that covers most of what I've done. Like I said, I've gone through the characters as well, the character classes, and like tweaked stuff in here, like adjusting some hit rates up, making sure everybody had attack speed, because not everybody had attack speed, and that completely invalidates all of my code that cares about your attack speed. Adjusting some effects around a little bit. I don't know. I'm just going to scroll through everybody. You can look at all the properties changed are up here. So you can look at what stuff got tweaked if you want to. War Mage has a decent chance of counterattacking now. Blizzagus is more resistant to critical hits. Warlock, I gave a counterattack chance to. Druid has some inbuilt HP regeneration. A lot of this stuff is going to need to be like balanced and stuff. Special Forces has some critical evasion built in, but bad against evading magic. So spells are actually a little bit better against the Special Forces. Random fun fact. I'd knocked down some of these characters, like Special Forces had a very high hit rate, and the Ninja had a very high hit rate. I bumped those down a bit. I don't know if it's enough or like it's an appropriate area or not, but a lot of the physical professions have over 100% hit rate because a lot of the weapons don't carry inherent positive hit rate for physical attacks, whereas like you use magic accessories to get your magical accuracy up. They work slightly differently, which I think is fine. The Ninja, I notably lowered attack speed to 30 from 180 or whatever it was. It was some ridiculous over 100 attack speed. So the Ninja like basically always went first. And I also lowered hit rate from like 180 to 140 to try to tone it down a little bit. But I think defense is just going to need to go down. The Ninja's or dexterity. The Ninja's dexterity is way too high. Nothing particularly to note on the Sage. Attack speed up a little bit. And then, like I said, for states, I went into Guard and I gave it a bit of a recovery effect. I did go, the Guard skill originally restored 1% of HP. I removed that because it was kind of dumb and didn't do a whole lot and was kind of distracting, and I figured that would be a better way of handling it. There is a Guard 2 turns that I also added that to. The only difference between this and Guard is that this lasts 2 turns. And then, like I said, I went through and I made sure all of these had descriptions in them, including describing if they can be salvaged down into things. So, I think that covers most of everything at this point. You can see here's my quests. These are how they work. Yeah. Yep, that basically wraps things up. I moved some stuff around to get these guys in here where I wanted them. And yeah, that's going to sum everything up for me. So that's going to go ahead and wrap stuff up here for today. Let me know if you have any questions, and you can always, there's a link to my Discord down below. You can always hop in there, and there's an Astral Collision channel there if you want to ask any specific questions as well. But yeah, that's going to wrap stuff up. So until next time, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and goodbye.